Hey, David here with just some quick thoughts about what I've witnessed so far in these Kavanaugh hearings. So, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford just gave her full testimony. I think it was 4 hours long, talking to the committee about what happened to her. And I think it's obvious that she's telling the truth, that she remembers that event very in a very detailed way. That the event of her being in that room, being pushed into that room by Judge and Brett Kavanaugh, and having Kavanaugh put his hand over her mouth while trying to rip her clothes off, while both of them are laughing, while one of them turned the music up to try and silence her screams. This happened to her. Why would anybody make this up? She has been doxxed. She's had to relocate, I think she said twice. Her parents have been doxxed. She's received death threats. She will now be associated with sexual assault and Brett Kavanaugh, her assaulter, for the rest of her life. Who wants that? She had her own life. She has a family. There was absolutely no reason to come forward with a fake story about this. A detailed story about this, where it's detailed in parts where you would think it should be detailed for someone who experienced this, but also because it was so long ago, yeah, she's not going to remember all the other events surrounding it. Because this is an event that traumatized her. So she's going to remember the traumatizing event and not necessarily know all the other details. Someone who is fabricating a story would have this perfect story laid out where they know every single detail, they know exactly who was there, they know exactly what happened. But no, Blasey Ford has a detailed event of what happened to her, but of course has some fuzzy details around the address of where it was or exactly what date it was. But at every turn, she has discussed how, for example, if Mark Judge came out, so she saw Mark Judge, who was the other guy in the room with Brett Kavanaugh. She saw Judge, I think she said 4 to 6 weeks after the event. Saw him, ran into him at a grocery store where he was working. She said if somebody can investigate or find out exactly when Judge was working there, then she would be able to better pinpoint when that event happened to her, when she was assaulted. She is calling for a proper investigation. She wants the FBI to investigate this. She wants more details out. She wants Judge to testify. But Judge won't testify. Why? Why would you not testify if you are so certain that you were not involved in this? If somebody accused me of being in a room when someone tried to attempt to rape somebody and there was no fucking way I was in that room, I would testify immediately. I'd be pissed off that somebody is lying and placing me somewhere that I know I never was. Judge doesn't want to testify because he knows he was in that fucking room. And how has Blasey Ford benefited from this? Again, she's been doxxed. Her parents were doxxed. She has a fear of flying. She had to fly here. Over and over and over again, she has made steps to show that there was no other reason to do this except for the fact that she feels like she needs to as a citizen. She needs to come forward with this information. So, it's just... It's amazing to me that anybody at this point can question her story. There's no possible way, or she hasn't benefited from this at all. So it makes me angry. And the amount of courage it takes to come out here and talk about this event that you did not want to talk about to begin with. Oh, and so she put this out there. She wrote her congressperson before Brett Kavanaugh was chosen as the nominee. She wrote her congressperson when there were a bunch of names being floated around, and Brett Kavanaugh was one of them. As she wanted to ensure or have this information out there to hopefully try and influence the Republicans in not choosing, or influence Trump in not choosing Kavanaugh and maybe choosing somebody else who, by the way, would have voted exactly the same way that Kavanaugh will. Republicans, regardless, whatever judge he would have chosen, they would have voted on the Supreme Court the same way that Kavanaugh will. But even though she put that letter out there before Kavanaugh was even chosen, people are still questioning this. There is absolutely no reason to question what she is saying. There is no motive that she has to lie about this. So, I mean, the real question is now, what are the Republicans going to do? Are they actually going to vote on this guy tomorrow? I just don't. There's just a complete lack of humanity. Just a complete and utter lack of human decency. Again, look, Ford was not on trial here. This is a job interview for Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh's not on trial here. This is simply bringing information out there to inform people that, hey, maybe somebody who is going to be appointed to, going to have a lifetime appointment on the Supreme Court, maybe if this is in their past, maybe he shouldn't be chosen. There are many other people to choose from. Many other people that are Republicans that did not commit sexual assault. Choose somebody else. But this is a game. I mean, it's just fucking gross. I don't understand how there is even a debate around this anymore. If the shoe was on the other foot, if this was a Democrat with this in their history, they would have had to pull the nomination weeks ago. When this came out, they would have had to pull it. Why do they continue pushing Kavanaugh through? And it might be because Kavanaugh is the one person who would save Donald Trump in a potential situation where Trump should be removed from office. That's in Kavanaugh's history. I'll link to a story about that below this video so you understand what I'm talking about. But that may be the one reason. But still, there has to be, I don't know, there has to be some soul, some empathy, some human decency injected into this process. This whole thing has been crazy to me. And for the Republicans to put out what in their words, what they call a female assistant, a prosecutor, have the prosecutor ask the questions instead of them asking the questions because they don't even trust themselves enough to ask a woman who went through this questions about what happened. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. This whole thing has been an entire, just a big spectacle. But the bravery of Christine Blasey Ford is the one thing you should take out of this. That she has everything to lose and nothing to gain. And yet still she came out because she feels as an American citizen that people need to know the truth about Brett Kavanaugh.